Hey guys, Docharian here, back with another Last Epoch video. So today we're going to be talking about the new change that's going to be happening around September. And this is going to be the mid-cycle reset. So it says here, announcing 1.1 refresh and cycle event, the Imperial Uprising. Now, not too much information has been given in this announcement. They're going to be doing an event on September 20, and they're also going to be doing a reset. It also says there's going to be a 20% discount on Last Epoch as well on Steam. So in the event, they basically announced that there's going to be some improvements to playing on Steam Deck, new and updated shrines. So the shrines are like these buffs that you get as you're playing through the monoliths. I don't know if you're going to get like damage shrines or like different types of shrines, but essentially there's going to be some sort of update there. Now, the dungeons is one point of contention in the game at the moment because a lot of the dungeons feel pointless or very tedious to do. So, for example, like the Soulfire Bastion dungeon, that one is really tedious to do, and I don't think anyone likes doing it. The end reward is just to gamble for items. I'm not exactly sure how many people actually do this, but normally when I get the keys for Soulfire dungeons, I just sell them for extra gold. The other is the dungeon to make legendary items. So the Temporal Sanctum dungeon, which is the dungeon to improve your uniques and get legendary items, that one is always very tedious to do. There's 2 levels, which are very easy to clear, and then sometimes if you're playing on T4 Jura, it's very hard to clear T4 Jura. So hopefully the improvements is so that they don't make it as tedious to do. Sometimes going through the dungeon is annoying. So hopefully they make it so that only need to clear it once and then you can challenge the boss each time. I think that's better. Otherwise, making it so that there's only one level so that it's not as annoying to clear through the dungeon, and making the pathing through the dungeon as well not as annoying will be nice. But I do feel like the Temporal Sanctum dungeon mechanic is really cool. So being able to phase shift through different timelines, I think is really cool. I think if they had more mechanics like that, that would be really nice to see in the game, and for different dungeons as well. So those mechanics are really cool, but for dungeons in general, having to clear the dungeons like 50,000 times just so that you can upgrade your legendaries is a little bit annoying to do. Next, we see that they're going to be having loot lizard encounters. I'm assuming this is kind of like a loot goblin from like Diablo 4 style thing, so like a loot creature that you have to kill to get gear and stuff. That's really nice. Hopefully these loot lizards are enticing enough for people to want to kill them, whereas if you just kill the loot lizard and there isn't much loot, then obviously it's a bit of a waste. But I think making it enticing so that it's like the Nemesis system, I think will be really cool, and makes it so that you have the Nemesis system in the game along with the loot lizard. That way people can get a lot of loot, especially if you're doing Circle of Fortune as well. It's going to be really nice to see a lot more loot in the game. We have Stash Tab Priority System. I'm not exactly too sure what that means. I don't know if that means they're increasing the search filters on the Stash Tabs, but we'll have to see what that means. We have month-long event modifiers and improvements to the Bazaar search. I don't really play Merchant's Guild, but hopefully it's easier to search for stuff in the bazaar. So this is the very controversial topic. We have the cycle refresh. The new event brings a full cycle refresh, transitioning all cycle 1.1 characters to legacy and giving everyone a fresh start. Ladders will be reset and the economy will begin anew, leveling the playing field and setting the stage for new challenges and victories. So this is a bit controversial. I don't play cycle, so I won't be affected by this. I've been playing Legacy exclusively from the beginning. Because, one, I'm not a hardcore player. I do play relatively casually, and I do want to be able to access all my loot. So, the thing I care about most is coming up with new builds and characters. And I do want to be able to access all my gear for my characters that I'll be playing. So, that's what I find the most fun, is just creating new builds. Whereas, having to start again is really annoying for me, so that's why I've always played Legacy. And the cycle has been quite short as well. It's only been like 1 or 2 months. People who play the cycle, I can imagine they'll find it very annoying that they'll have to start again because the ladder will be reset. At the same time, I do love Last Epoch, so I'm going to trust the devs. I'm assuming this was a hard decision to make on their part, but I don't see this particular decision bringing a lot of players back to the game. If anything, it's actually going to turn people away, because the people who are still currently playing after the cycle has been out for a while most likely have moved to different games. So people still stuck playing the cycle, if they have to re-roll for a new character, I can see that it might be a turn-off for them to continue playing. Okay, so Imperial Uprising event details. So it says they're going to be launching the event on September 19th, all the way until October 20. So I'm assuming the new season, or new cycle, sorry, would happen just after this. It does say, though, that this isn't the next cycle, although they are excited to talk about the new cycle in future posts. It's just a continuation of the new patch, but they are refreshing the cycle, meaning that all of your characters in cycle will now go to legacy, and your ladders will be reset, bazaar will be refreshed, and the economy will be reset as well. It also says that they're not planning to include any balance changes, but it says here that during the event, players will participate by killing skeletons, all manner of them. I'm not sure if this means that there's going to be a separate event for this, or if you just go around monoliths killing the skeletons and that will give you stuff. But it does say here that you're going to get increased faction reputation gain, you're going to get increased gold, increased unique drops, and increased undead spawn rates in monoliths. So it doesn't look like there's anything special, it just means that they're going to be spawning more mobs. My assumption is, with the increased spawn rate in mobs, hopefully this means higher mob density, and that means that you'll get more XP that way, because it doesn't say anything in here about increased experience. So I'm hoping that the undead spawns means that there's going to be more experience in that sense. Okay, it says the cycle will continue once the month-long event has finished, but the modifiers will revert to their original state. The updates will remain, and the playing characters will stay in the cycle until the next cycle event, or patch 1.2. So it does say here why a cycle reset. Now, they do explain that people wanted an economy reset. This was specifically for Merchants Guild, because Circle of Fortune has no effect on this. In turn, them doing a cycle refresh will affect the Circle of Fortune characters, so that's going to be a bit of a shame. The first reason is that the game difficulty should be balanced to player skill and effort, not by someone's ability to exploit game mechanics or violate terms of services. When these things happen, we understand the frustration they can cause, and rest assured we take it very seriously. The second reason is quality of life. We have several requests that would improve the game's quality of life, and waiting for a full cycle patch to deploy them is longer than we would want the community to have to wait. Okay, so lastly, feedback. Quite simply, that we have many things we want to implement sooner rather than later, and our players have been offering great suggestions on which we want to act. We feel a cycle, event, and refresh would be an ideal way to implement some of these changes and gather feedback. For other related features, we are potentially looking to move forward within subsequent cycles. As with all your ideas, your feedback is one of the most important things. Having a read through the comments pretty quickly, some people didn't like the cycle reset happening because they play in the cycle and then they just don't get to access all their cycle stuff because it's going to be legacy now. So what's the point of playing cycle? Again, I'm not really too affected by this, so I don't have too much thoughts by this, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Whether you're happy with the cycle change, whether you're not happy with the cycle change. I can imagine people won't be happy, but then again, I've been enjoying Last Epoch for its entire duration. Sure, everything that they've done hasn't been perfect, but in this particular instance, I'm just going to trust the devs and their direction of the game, see how things go. But yeah, let me know your thoughts are. As always, have an awesome day. Bye for now.